Welcome to another episode of Mineral Talks Live. Now, before we start this week's show, I'd like to address a topic that has made the worldwide news stage. This is, of course, the explosion that happened last night in the port area of Beirut, Lebanon. And this was a absolutely devastating explosion that happened at about 6 p.m. last night, Tuesday night in Lebanon. And you have probably seen photos of this, all photos and videos of this all over the internet. It was a fire that started in the port area that then ignited about 2,700 tons of fertilizer that was stored nearby. And the resulting explosion destroyed the windows of homes up to 10 kilometers, which is a little bit over 6 miles away from the epicenter there. The I can't really explain. If you haven't seen this, you owe it to yourself to go online and check this out, because this is absolutely devastating in its magnitude. The latest census of how many people have been killed by this explosion, it's actually a miracle. I mean, it's a little bit over 100 right now. The Red Cross reported this morning that about 100 people have been killed by this, and it's a miracle that more haven't been killed by this. Latest estimates also show it's about 4,000 people in the area that have been injured. And in addition to that, there are now about 300,000 people who are homeless. And this explosion comes on top of the coronavirus situation that's raging through Lebanon right now. And all of this on top of the economic crisis and the refugee situation really has created a horrible storm for the people of Lebanon. And our hearts really go out to all of those people there. Here's an image of the blast area right after the blast, and you can see all the destroyed homes in the foreground. Estimate is in excess of $5 billion in damage to this very economically strapped country right now. And it is a true travesty, and our heart go out to the people. As soon as I got a alert on my news feed, I think it was Peter Lickberg who was the first one who started posting some of these images on Facebook. So after I got the alert, I went on Facebook and I saw Peter's posts here, and I started commenting on those images. So if you'd like to take a look at some of the photos, some of the videos, some of the comments that people have been making, go onto Facebook and look up Peter Lickberg under the name Peter Berg, and take a look at some of the comments there. Now, in the mineral world, beyond just our concern of the toll and human costs there, we are also very interested in what was going on with the MIM Museum. Now, the MIM Museum is a mineral museum in Beirut there that is actually one of the finest mineral museums in the world. And the collection of minerals in this museum are some of the best of species from global locations. And we were immediately very curious as to what was the status of this. And here's the front of the MIM Museum in finer days. The initial reports that we heard was that no minerals were damaged, yet there was a lot of damage done to both the gift shop and the security curtain that protects the atrium of the museum. So last night we reached out to Salim Eddé, who is the founder of the MIM Museum, and he will be our guest here on Mineral Talks Live in about 3 weeks. And we asked of him what was the status of it, and he was kind enough to send us this photo of the gift shop. And I think this is the first time this photo is being seen anywhere, but you can see the damage there to the gift shop. You can see all of the broken glass in the foreground. Fortunately, no employees were hurt at the museum, and it was past the closing time of the museum, so a lot of the guests had already gone home, and we're very thankful of that. This here is the security curtain that protects the atrium of the museum, and you can see the amount of force that was applied to that security curtain that really sent it back Fortunately, that seemed to have protected a lot of the pieces in the museum. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull up a video that Salim was kind enough to send us that's going to start from the opposite view of this. So we'll be inside the museum looking at the security curtain, and then we'll start wandering around the atrium of the museum. So there you see the inside of the security curtain. And while you don't have the audio right now, this is one of Salim's employees that is walking around the museum giving him an assessment of what happened. And he's speaking in French, and what he's basically saying is he's going by all of these pedestal display cases in the atrium, looking at all the pieces. And luckily, there was absolutely zero damage to any of the pieces or any of the cases. They're doing a full assessment now, but as of right now, it's believed that the over 2,100 specimens in the collection, again, many of them being the finest of species, finest known of that particular species, not a single one of those 2,100 pieces have been damaged or even jostled or moved from their display cases. So we are very, very, very happy to hear that. Our hearts go out to all the people of Beirut and Lebanon. And again, Salim will be our guest here in 3 weeks. So come on back to our Mineral Live Mineral Talks live show, and Salim will show us around the museum. Hopefully by then they'll have had the time to clean up the entrance of the museum so that you can get a better idea of what it normally looks like. We'll go through the museum, see lots of great pieces, and you can ask Salim any questions that you want. So again, our hearts go out to the people of Lebanon, and now on to our normal show.